The top 7 mistakes people make when trying to get back with an ex. 7. The top. Hello there, I'm Coach Abby. Thank you so much for joining me today on Love Advice TV. So, the 7 top mistakes people make when trying to get back with an ex really is a topic I love. It's a topic I love because this is where I've gathered this information from most of my clients, because you teach me a lot of things too. I've put together this list from the hundreds of people I've been fortunate enough to coach. And it's amazing because their history and their story allows me to create it and share it with you. So I hope that if you are looking to act out on any of these, that you remember this video and refrain from doing so, or at least pause. My favorite word, pause, before you do anything. So, if you've experienced a painful breakup and you want to go back with your ex, I really believe this video is intended to help you stay away from making things worse than they already are right now. And they're bad because you're not together. Okay? They may not be as bad as you think they are, but the fact that you're broken up just makes it challenging. So what I feel that is very important is to understand that breakups are painful, without a doubt. But I also find that trying to find our way back to our ex can be just as painful, if not more. You might ask me, why more? Well, because we find ourselves reliving the breakup over and over. And through it, we stay frozen in time and in fear and with doubt of whether or not they will come back to us. And listen, I honor that. I know how that feels on many levels, but I also know what it looks like when that desire starts turning into anxiety, confusion, and emotional burnout. Perhaps the things you're doing to bring them back are simply not working. And they're not working because they're not back with you. So what I would like to do today is to bring you some sort of clarity. And here's the truth. Not only do these 7 missteps slow down your chances, they often sabotage them completely. And once again, I'm talking from experience, but please don't worry, because this isn't about guilt. This is about understanding. And when you understand, you can shift. You can make new moves. You can make smarter moves. And you make them from a place of confidence and not from chaos. So I invite you to take a deep breath together and let's dive in. Now let's be real. Breakups leave us raw. Now, mistake number 1 is reaching out too soon. It's true, one of the first instincts after a separation is to reach out. Even if you agree to the breakup, it's incredible. All of a sudden, time passes and you're saying, oh my God, what's happening here? And there's that urge to reestablish connection. It's a biological one. Remember that. It's emotional. It's normal. But it's also dangerous, because if it's driven by fear and panic, it will backfire. So let me tell you about a client of mine, and it's important because I'll call him Sam. Now, the day after his girlfriend broke up with him, he sent a long, heartfelt email to her. And it was a beautifully written email. It had nothing to do with it. It was all him. And he followed it with a dozen texts over the next few days. And, one was more emotional than the last. Her response? Silence. Then finally she did respond. And her response was very to the fact. Please stop. I need space. Can any of you watching relate to this? I know Sam meant well, but because he acted out of emotional urgency, not clarity, his actions felt like pressure. When Sam reached out to me, he was totally deflated. He booked a 1-hour session, which thankfully helped him change his vibe from that of weakness to one of being courageous. He began to understand that being vulnerable initially took great courage, and that letter was a vulnerable moment. Yet persistence made him shrink in her presence. He stopped texting. He stopped reaching out. He slowly began to feel empowered. No more begging. No more clinginess. She knew everything he had to say. This learning curve helped him remain patient and wait until she began to feel his absence, leading her to eventually reaching out. Now, as of this video, I'm confident they're on their way back to rekindling. Though, Sam, remember to not rush things. There's a pace here. I want you to ask yourself, please, have you reached out to your ex too soon? Was it from a grounded place? Or was it from a place of fear, of panic, that we're going to move on? That distinction matters tremendously. Now, we all know you can love someone deeply, and you still give them the gift of silence. In fact, sometimes silence speaks more loudly than words. Now, mistake number 2 is one that comes from a very different human place, and it's called guilt. Now, after a breakup, especially if you believe you contributed to the fallout, I mean, God knows what went on, but that you triggered it, it's natural to feel the weight of regret. But here's the trap. Too many people start trying to buy redemption through excessive apologies. So let me say this clearly. One sincere apology is necessary, yet enough. One. When you over-apologize, you make yourself smaller. You start negotiating your worth. You begin saying things like, I promise you I'll change. I'll be whoever you need to be. I'm so sorry. The words lose strength. That's not love. That's emotional bargaining. Never shrink who you are to measure to another standard. We can apologize, yes, authentically once. And here's the heartbreaking part. The more you beg for forgiveness, the more your ex starts to feel like the prize. And you become the pursuer. You're no longer the partner. Change perspective. The mistake number 3 is the infamous closure talks. We need to talk about closure. Why? The word itself sounds so mature. I know it does, but is it? In reality, what many people call that closure conversation is really just an undercover hope for reconciliation. They say things often like, I just need to understand why you left. I need closure. Please give me closure. Can we just talk that just one more time? Please, I need clarity. I can't move on, please, unless we speak. All of these different phrases, but the truth is you can move on. You're just afraid to. Now, closure doesn't come from their explanation. It comes from your acceptance. I remember another client, Maya, and I love Maya. I mean, she kept requesting one more talk. Please, I just need to really wrap it down with her ex. She believed if she could just explain her side better, he'd finally get it. But every time and every conversation, it reopened the wounds, making him even more adamant to talk to her. So if any of this resonates with you, if this approach resonates with you, take a deep breath and repeat after me. I don't need them to close the door. I can close it from my side. Maya finally, thank heavens, did realize that she didn't need closure after a breakup because true healing comes from within, not from explanations or validation from someone who already chose to leave. Seeking closure often keeps us emotionally tied to the past, waiting for answers that, even if given, probably won't satisfy us. Acceptance, on the other hand, empowers us to move forward on our own terms. Now, that's emotional freedom. Mistake number 4, posting excessively to get their attention. Now, this one might sting a little because we're so addicted, most of us, to social media. It's a way of life. So you post a story with that perfectly angled smile. You casually show yourself out with friends. You make sure they see what they're missing. And then you post and continue posting and some more posting, and you're wondering if they're watching them, if they're what they think about them. You're still tied down to their thoughts. That's the problem. If you're using your online life to trigger your ex, actually, you're still in reaction mode. You're still living for them and not for yourself. Now, I'm not saying don't post. Actually, I have a video on YouTube, which I made recently, on how using social media can work to your advantage. It does. But it also dives into what you should stay away from. When posting, it's important. What's truly important is only post when it's real, when it reflects genuine joy, not stage validation. It's a tricky thing. We have to learn how to identify it. Your power doesn't come from proving you've moved on. It actually comes from moving forward with or without their attention. Taking us to mistake number 5, fixing the relationship from the outside. Okay, let's talk about the fixer in all of us. I'm a fixer. I'm a coach. I fix things. But we read all the books. You send them relationship tips. You're always suggesting couples therapy. By the way, most of my clients do not admit they are working with me. And it's interesting. So many other suggestions that we keep bombarding them with, even though we're not together, but you need help. You need this, you need that. But here's the thing. You can't fix the relationship while the foundation is still cracked. And the foundation is you. Your nervous system, your emotional clarity, your communication habits, your self-worth. That's where the real rebuilding starts. And most of us don't want to do the work. We just want to pick up where we left off. And I'm not saying reconciliation is impossible, because it is. I see it all the time. But trying to fix the symptoms of the breakup without healing the root cause will always lead to relapse. And that's why we go through all these breakups over and over, because we haven't fixed the problem. So I ask you, what are you fixing within yourself right now? Be honest with yourself, not with me. If your ex would see you right this very moment, pause. What would they see? Are they going to see the new and improved you? Or are they going to be back to that old person and relieved they left? Becoming the best version of yourself is where your effort belongs at all times. That's what will draw them back. Now, mistake number 6 is being too emotionally available. If your ex knows that all they have to do is text, "Hey, what's up?" and you'll come running, you've given them emotional access without emotional accountability. And this is harsh but true. When you're always available, you're just there, you become, I hate to say it, forgettable. Not because you're not amazing, but because you're predictable. And predictability is boring, forgettable. Relationships are built on rhythm, on space, on mystery. Yes, some familiarity, but mystery is very intrusive. Don't rob your story of the natural tension that allows desire to build. Instead of waiting by your phone, start waiting on yourself. Grow, evolve, thrive again. You need to let your absence be felt. Please. And mistake number 7 is making reconciliation your only goal in life. This is one of the biggest one of all. If your entire journey is focused on getting your ex back, you're really missing the most beautiful part. And the most beautiful part is getting yourself back. Have you ever thought that the breakup was a wake-up call that you needed? What if this is your invitation to become emotionally stronger, more self-aware, more grounded than ever? Because here's the truth. Once again, the more you focus on your own healing, the more attractive you naturally become. You're authentic. You're composed. You're emotionally regulated. Not just to your ex, but people, to yourself. That's the energy that creates authentic reunions. Not manipulation, not force, not fear. So now that we've touched on the 7 mistakes people make when trying to get with an ex, I want you to really reflect on the following. Which of these 7 mistakes have you made? I've made a couple at some time or another. It's normal. It's perfectly all right to rewind and rewind this video and review each of the mistakes again, please. Just keep asking yourself, if you are operating from a place of fear or from a place of self-confidence, if you aren't sure where you stand or what your next move should be, we all are up to a certain extent. Specifically, the breakup is very rare and raw. I'm sorry, not rare. I invite you to take the free assessment questionnaire provided below. It is designed to assist in determining where you are right now, today, in this relationship, and what steps to take moving forward. So please let clarity help guide you. The more we know about these things, the better we get. You don't have to beg, you don't have to chase, and you certainly don't have to shrink. You just have to become. And what I mean by becoming, become the best person you were meant to be before the breakup. You have to become who you're meant to be and watch how everything and everyone, including your ex, begins aligning with your positive energy. You know, we lose ourselves to relationships all the time, and it's part of human instinct. As for women, I have to say, and I don't like to do the gender roles, but it's that nurturing part of us. And we focus everything on the relationship, even if it's good, bad, or dramatic, or chaotic, or whatever it might be. And we tend to put behind so many other things that made up our lives before this relationship. And what we need to do is go back to our core, go back to our silliness, bring out that childness in you. Don't take this relationship as a life or death situation. Learn from it. It could have been a wake-up call to become you, the best version of yourself. To recreate yourself, to reattract your ex in such a way that they'll never want to leave again. So it's take these 7 mistakes, please, to heart. They represent hundreds of clients and notes and strategies and back and forths. And if you do them, I can't promise you he'll be back or she'll be back. But I can promise you that you will be able to be much more emotionally confident and regulated every step of the way. Thank you once again for joining me today. As always, if you found this video helpful, in this case, share it with others. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips on personal growth, on mending broken relationships, and please, on anything else that's in between that makes relationships so chaotic at times, yet so beautiful when we're able to align ourselves with what each of our needs are, individually and collectively. Until next time, I'm Coach Abby.